Welcome to Rocky Mountain Renewal. My name is Victoria. I'm originally from England. I married an American, and after living all over the world, we settled in Manitou Springs, Colorado. We bought a 100-year-old former boarding house and outbuildings which needed complete renovation. It has been a labor of love and lots of hard work, but we still find time to have fun and explore the amazing place we live in. Come join us on our journey as we renew our home and our spirits in the beautiful Rocky Mountains. Hi, welcome to Rocky Mountain Renewal. As you heard in my introduction, my name is Victoria. This is my first ever vlog for this channel. I wanted to basically introduce myself rather than just going straight into looking at our property and the renovation and the restoration. I'm sorry, that's my cat in the background making noise. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and my family, and then hopefully we'll go on to look at a bit about our town, about the history of it, about living in Colorado, and how we learned various DIY techniques and projects and so on along the way. So yeah, I'm Victoria. I'm married to an American. I married him 16 years ago. He's from Seattle. We have 2 daughters and 2 cats, one of which is on my lap here now. Hopefully they will all feature in the vlogs further down the line. But just to tell you a little bit about myself, I suppose. So I was born and I grew up in England, in Harrogate, North Yorkshire. I lived all over the world for various reasons, and then married my husband, who's from Seattle, as I said, and we lived there for many years. Then across to North Carolina, and then we moved here to Colorado. When we moved here, initially we weren't sure where we were going to settle. We started looking at various areas south of Denver, across Colorado Springs, and we just happened upon Manitou Springs one day. We came across here, we were looking for somewhere for lunch. Manitou is a wonderful town in the foothills of the Rockies. We have Pikes Peak that sort of looms over the town behind us here. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'll tell you a bit more about that at some stage. We decided to rent here initially, and then decided we wanted to buy because we loved the town so much. Manitou is a very special town. It has a lot of natural springs that are dotted throughout this town. The Native Americans found it a very sacred space, a sacred place, in that they believed that the waters here were healing, and many of the local tribes would spend a lot of time here, as did many tribes that came from out of state to use these and consume these healing waters. And then of course there was the Western influx there with the healing powers of the waters. You had a lot of tuberculosis patients that used to come here to breathe in the fresh mountain air and drink the healing waters. Manitou we stand pretty high here. We're at 6,400 feet. So altitude wise, it's quite a tricky one to come to, especially when you're coming from sea level. It certainly took me a number of weeks to acclimatize. We are a population of about 5,500 people, so it's a lovely small town, but we have access to larger towns and cities. Colorado Springs, Denver aren't too far away. It's just a gorgeous town in that it has a very quirky nature, very, very artsy, just a lovely place for the children to grow up and for adults to enjoy their time with the musical community, with the arts community, and then just the absolutely gorgeous nature around us. We are absolutely spoiled here. So once we decided that we wanted to buy in this area, we found that it was going to be much harder than we originally thought, in that not many properties come up for sale in this area very often. And if they do, they go fast. Even before COVID and so on was going on, I mean, the market is still hot here now. So we met with our realtor and we gave her 3 instructions as to what we were looking for, 3 criteria. One was an historic house. The second was that it has a view, given that we've got these gorgeous mountains around us. And the third was that there was income potential. We knew that it was going to be very difficult to find a property that had all these 3 things. But I think historic was high up on our list straight off the bat. I'd grown up in an historic house back in Yorkshire, and it was something that I wanted the girls to experience, our 2 daughters. So we gave our realtor a tough task, really. And by the way, for those who don't live in America, a realtor is a bit like an estate agent and a solicitor combined, but it's somebody that will go out and look for properties that might appeal to you. So rather than you having to look around so much. So we ended up looking outside of Manitou. We ended up looking towards Colorado Springs and then even further up in the mountains here. But we really knew at heart that we wanted to be here in this town. So after viewing about, I'd say 20 properties, we got a call from our realtor to say that there was a property, this house, that was about to go up on the market the following day, and would we like to go and see it? And of course we leapt at it. We were told it's a 100-year-old house that had formerly been a family home and then became a boarding house to what we believe were miners. There was a large coal mining industry in this area 150 years ago. And then there was also the silver mining and gold mining a bit further up into the mountains here. So this house had been built by a fairly wealthy family and then somehow became a boarding house. And what we found when we came to look at it, in fact, all the doors had the original numbers on it. So it went up to six bedrooms in all, the boarding house. When we came to see it, it was owned by, strangely enough, a very elderly British lady. And she had had it turned into 2 apartments at some stage because she needed somebody to help look after her. So the carer lived in the top portion of the house and she lived in the bottom part. So this house is basically made up of 4 floors. There's a large basement downstairs, there's first floor, second floor, and then the large attic rooms at the top. We came in to see it, and even though nothing had really been done to it since the, I suppose, 60s, somewhat 50s, 60s, everything needed doing, everything needed modernizing, the whole electrical, the wiring, everything needed doing. But when we walked into the house, we immediately felt that it was a warm, welcoming space and that the bones were good and the structure was good and that we could envision ourselves here. And we came into this back room and this little old lady was sat back there and she didn't have very good eyesight. So I started to talk to her and she said, "Are you from England?" And I said, "Yeah, we're looking for an historic house and we would love to be in this space." I immediately told her that we loved it, we resonated with it. And she was really happy to hear that I was from England. And I said, "Well, look, we're just looking for a home that we can, make into a wonderful environment for our girls. We want to make a big, happy family space, somewhere we can entertain, have parties and have the family visiting from all over the place." And she was very, very sweet. And she loved hearing my girls running around the dining room area. So we toured the house, and then the back of our lot here, we have a small studio, and then there's also a cottage at the back. And there was somebody living in there when we came to see it, so we could only see portions of it. But we agreed that should we buy this, the lady could stay there until her lease was up and so on. And again, that needed everything doing to it. It was in fact older than this house because apparently on this property at some stage there were 4 miners' cottages, and I think that was the only one that remained, and then this was built on the lot. So we toured it, and as we went round, you begin to clock up in your head, okay, this needs doing, this needs doing, this needs tearing out, everything needed tearing out essentially. But we loved it, and as soon as we got home, we called the realtor and said, look, we want to put an offer in, and that very day it was accepted. And so we became owners of this large house in Manitou, which needed everything doing to it. I think if somebody had told me back then the extent of the work, I would probably have been a bit more nervous than I had been going into it. But we knew what we were lining ourselves up for. My husband, throughout his years at university in the summertime, he would renovate houses, and he knew how, you know, the tricks and techniques of restoring houses and how that went, and he knew he could teach me. So we stayed in our rental property for a while because we knew we needed to gut the house. We knew we needed the electricity replacing. It was on what's called knob and tube, which was the older version of the electricity we have now, and it wasn't particularly safe, so we had to have that all rewired, and then a bunch of plumbing work done as well. And then obviously knocking this house back into one rather than having it as two apartments, we needed it back as one family space. So we began renovating, I think in the spring of 2018. And it's been a long process, and my husband works full time. I'm fortunate, I'm at home with the girls at the moment. But it has taken a lot longer than we thought, and we'd do bits and pieces up as we went along, and sort of camped out in various bedrooms, and we all had to shift as one was done up and then go on to the next. It was a very, very simple existence here at the beginning. So we are still very much in the process of restoring this house. We've probably done about 1.5 floors so far. And part of the reason I wanted to do this vlog is that I've documented it so far, in that I've taken photos and the odd little video here and there, but I realized that we don't really have a sort of flowing idea of, you know, all the progress we've made. So I wanted to sort of document this. We still have a huge amount of work to do, as you'll see in upcoming videos. We've in fact got a door that goes up to the attic, and we've just kept it shut for 2 years because it's just an absolute mess up there. Everything needs doing up there, just all the way back to, you know, going back through the layers and layers of wallpaper, which has been exciting actually, going through these rooms here, because you just get a real idea of the timeline of this house and who's lived here, and just all these beautiful things that come up. But yes, I hope to include a lot of my photos in these vlogs. I hope to document, video-wise, more of the progress we make as we deal with the projects upstairs in the attic and in the studio and in the basement. We've got an entire basement to sort out. And yeah, it's an exciting time, but at the same time it's exhausting, as anyone who's doing a property up will know. You know, it's fun to see the progress that's been made. But yeah, it'd be nice if we could get it done up a bit quicker, but we're getting there. But no, this is an exciting place to live in, and as I say, my girls love to live in this house. We've got a garden that everything needs doing in the garden. We haven't even able to touch that yet. We've not done a thing to it. That needs a lot of work, an awful lot of work, and they love playing out there because they find chunks of coal from where they brought the coal down the mountain to what was where the livery is now, down in Manitou Springs. We're just one street away from the main street, so it used to come down through here. So they find bits of coal, and we also find a lot of the Native American arrowheads. So it's just, again, interesting to see, you know, the various things in the timeline of this property, and who's lived in this area and so on. So I think I'll leave it there for now. I just basically wanted to get the vlog up and running, and just as I say, introduce myself and just give you an idea of what this vlog will be about. I look forward to sharing our house with you and the progress and the projects and the trials and tribulations, and I really hope you'll enjoy the future videos. I know this is just a short one, but if you like it, if you're interested, I would really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, and I hope to get another vlog out shortly. Thank you.